All right, so it is 11:03. I'm Chair Kay Peterson calling the meeting to order. We'll do a roll call. Kay Peterson present.
Steve Cresco, member present.
Don Quackenbush present.
Okay. So we have no citizens present to comment. Is that correct, Sophia?
That is correct, from what I can see. Sorry didn't mean to step on you there, Sophia.
No, you're good. Yeah, there's no
Okay.
citizens present.
Before we begin with the agenda, Steve, I just want to say that you have named yourself Chair Stephen Cresco on this Zoom. Do you see that?
I didn't purposefully.
How would that have happened?
I have no idea.
I think it
I
probably
wouldn't
happened
even know
when
how to do it.
I think it happened when the invitations went out.
I
I
see.
would, I would not even know how to do that.
You could rename yourself, and
Yeah.
if you want, I could talk you through it. But
What would you like to be called?
Uh,
Um, I
Yeah, it
think
might have been an issue with the invitation. I can rename you if you want. I
yeah,
think
I'm
on my
not his lordship.
Did you just do that?
Yes.
All right. Well, anyway, so let's move on. We have a only two items on our agenda, and I think we should try to blow through them fairly quickly. I don't think that should be too hard, but um, so we'll start with the discussion about the proposed 40B project at 43 Strawberry Hill Street. And Jason will summarize, but I just want to begin by saying that though I live in the neighborhood, I am not an abutter to this project. Um, uh, Jason, do you want to summarize?
Yeah, sure. I'd be happy to.
By the way, your face is in complete shadow. That so that maybe you
Oh
could.
no. Give me 1 second.
There might be
About
some connection to a name you could give yourself. I'm not. Oh, that'll help. Well, maybe that's going to shine on your back too, though. No,
That's a
it's
little bit better.
better?
A little bit.
a tiny bit. We can see that
Well, I guess, I mean, we're moving from this office space in about 2 weeks, so this will hopefully be the last time you'll be seeing me in the shadows here.
all right.
Uh, so we'll have something to look forward to there.
All right,
Uh,
great.
but anyway, yes. So I'm happy we finally get to speak about this freely. If you guys recall, this kind of just missed our last agenda from when we met last Monday. So since that meeting, Kay and I actually went out yesterday to 43 Strawberry Hill for this site visit. Mass Housing was out there. Town administrator was out there. A few other department heads, chairs for boards. We weren't there all that long. Kay, maybe a half hour.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah, they just kind of fielded some general questions, poked around the site a little bit. Yesterday was brutally cold, as you know, so um, yeah, I didn't want to spend too much time out there. But so anyway, so I guess where we stand currently, they are proposing 20 units total, 10 different buildings, duplex style. So, one side will be one of the units, other side is the other unit. 10 separate buildings, two septic systems total, one for each big grouping of buildings, one well for each individual building. Um, and as you guys may or may not be aware, there's a pond on the site. There's all kinds of wetlands in the area. Water table is also very high. I mean, my opinion, this is probably one of the most brutal, environmentally challenged sites we may have in town. So really not, to me, not ideal for this type of project. That's not to say it won't happen. That's just me looking at it from my seat. But so what I've done, I have every document we have on this loaded up, ready to go. I'm happy to pull up anything you guys want to take a look at. Kind of, whatever you guys want to do, really. What I'm most interested in, we do have to put together comments for these folks. I believe those are due January 3rd. Now, I did just leave department head meeting, and town administrator is planning on asking for an extension, just because that date is a little tricky just in terms of holidays. It's kind of a big ask just with everyone's schedules. So I would expect the deadline's going to end up being sometime later in January. But either way, this is kind of our opportunity to speak about it, offer comment, and kind of go from there. So I guess at this point, I would open it up to you guys, and see where you want to go with this and see what you think.
So, Jason, who in town designates areas protected wetlands, and why hasn't this been designated a wetland? It sounds like it is, given everything you've told us about the site.
That is a great question, John. In terms of wetlands, the way it would work is once this project actually comes before us, once they start submitting applications and those types of things, they're going to be required to get a professionally done wetlands delineation. It's just, I guess, historically, it's kind of an old rundown single family house that's there now.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's been abandoned or what the history is, but chances are they've never actually had a professionally done wetlands delineation. We have tools that we can utilize in our office, like Mass Mapper, GIS, those things. But the one caveat with those is it's not a perfect. It's kind of just general. It's not you're not supposed to rely on it solely. So really, the only way is to have a professional come out and actually tell you what's what.
Yeah.
The wetlands that are mapped on the GIS are the DEP designated wetlands, which aren't,
Right.
it's not enough for a town to use those, because they're I don't know if it's correct to say this, but I view it as more the DEP wetlands are with a broad brush, and the more formal designation comes when a wetland specialist or a engineering firm maps the wetlands.
Yep, that's fair. Go ahead, Steve.
Some 15 years ago, I employed a wetlands specialist to look at a parcel that I owned adjacent to my other land. And that was paid for out of my own pocket. And an opinion was given as to whether the land was developable as a result of that. It's my understanding that whatever we had decided, had we thought it was possible to develop that parcel, we would have had to go through Concom.
Yep.
And Concom has regulations that are stricter, as do most Concoms of towns, than the DEP's overall. I think one of the things that the DEP doesn't look hardly at all at are vernal pools, for one.
Mhm.
And so that's the bailiwick of the Concon, though. It isn't our bailiwick.
That's right. That's a really good point. And
Right. Well, but it is relevant though, right? Because
Well-
the extent of the wetlands determines where, wells and septic systems.
Setbacks.
Yeah,
yes,
The setbacks.
absolutely.
Yeah.
So there is going to be a lot more information as time goes on about the results of surveys and wetlands tests, wetlands determination, and so forth. And we'll hear about that. So that one other point about the wetland specialist, and that is that's at the that's on the applicant's dime these days. So if the Concom says, well, we need to have our wetland specialist firm come in and map this, then the applicant will pay, which will be good.
Do you guys want to see what this parcel looks like on the GIS, just as a visual?
Yeah, please.
All right, I'm just going to share my screen here. Can you guys see this?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, so what I've done is so this is 43 Strawberry Hill, of course. I have put on the wetlands, the DEP wetland layer here. So all this that you're seeing here um, are the wetlands on the property, pond, existing single family house that's here. So from a project standpoint, so driveways down here, or what I would assume is going to turn into some type of private way, maybe a cul-de-sac. So you enter here on Strawberry Hill. Right when you turn down, there's going to be two buildings here. There's going to be a grouping of four buildings where the existing single family home is. And I believe the other grouping of buildings is going to be somewhere in this corner here. So as I said, there'll be a series of wells here, series of wells here. There'll be a septic system over here somewhere, septic system somewhere in this area.
And by the way, there is a stream that flows in the middle of the wetland area. Can you kind of outline it, Jason, just with the cursor there? It kind of goes right down the
Stream.
middle of that dog leg heading toward the pond, as you can imagine that. And there are
So this here.
there's a stream coming down there, and the different, apparently John Sullivan from the Concom said that there are some maps that show it as an intermittent stream and some that show it as a perennial stream. So that remains to be investigated further. And then there's an outlet from the pond on the, I'm just going to say what, it's got to be the west side of the pond, heading over toward the boundary there with the Blake property. And the pond was dug, I don't know how long ago, but a long time ago. And the Concom also is aware that the soils that were dug up for the test pits showed evidence of that kind of disturbance. So that will complicate the wetlands determination to some extent. I don't know any more about it than that, but
We step back for a second. How many wells are we actually talking about?
I believe 8 total, Steve. What's so one for each? Or maybe it's 10. It's 8 to 10. I think the intent is to
Sounds
do,
as though it's 10.
yeah. So I think the intent is to do one for each building. So if it's 10 buildings, it'll be 10 total.
Let's talk about proximity of wells to each other rules. Does that accommodate that many wells, that property?
I mean, as long as they have 50 feet in between, they can technically do it. It's just, I mean, think about it logically. You have 10 drills, 10 wells drilled within close proximity to one another. They're all drawing from the same areas. I would have concerns over the quality of those wells. Are they going to, what's the recovery going to be like? Are they very often going to quote unquote run dry? There's just a lot of technical challenges that I wouldn't feel great about.
there's a house on Strawberry Hill Street. I think, can you go back to that map, Jason?
Yep.
Please. Anyway, it's farther down on the same side of Strawberry Hill Street toward Dedham Street, 2 houses down. So not, see the house, there's a house right on the road there. It's not that one, but the next one has, I can't see the number, but
This
Go
direction,
down.
Kate, or the other direction?
other direction, Jason.
35?
Uh,
25?
Well, it's that small one that, see where Boulder, so-called Boulder Road is? That's a paper street, but yeah, so 25 Strawberry Hill. That's right. That one, that house has a well that apparently, according to the woman who lives there now, has to be, I'm sure she's right about this, but has to, in the summer, they have to allow it to recharge sometimes before they can go about their business with showering and so forth. But I don't know how deep that well is, and all that is a suggestion that maybe uh, we should get more information from abutters about what their wells, how their wells have been functioning.
Yeah, I mean that's a sample size of one, obviously, but I mean it's at least something. I mean that's of concern to me. Because usually there's neighborhood trends that we see with this stuff, right? So if that's what's happening at other properties on Strawberry Hill, that's, I mean, what's going to happen with 10 wells, right?
Hmm.
In a conversation with Jerry Clark in the last few days, he recalled that there was a Board of Health evaluation of this property regarding septic and wells somewhere between 10 and 20 years ago. Is there anything in the files regarding that?
I can double check, Steve, but my recollection, we had very few, didn't have much in the file on this one. Everything we have for the most part is attached to our meeting drive. It's perk tests and um,
He was quite familiar with the property.
Well, weren't the perk tests done about 5 years ago, Jason?
yeah, actually, let's if you guys want, let's take a look at one of these.
I was gonna say, if you get information on the depth on the wells, try to get the depth too. When we were at 12, our well was 30 feet deep. It had been hand dug.
30 feet?
Yes.
Wow.
So it ran dry and we had to drill, an 800
Yeah.
foot deep well. But the question of drawing from the same aquifer though is really important.
Yes.
And
Yes.
especially if these people are having trouble with deep wells, I think it's a sign that this might not be the best place to add 10 wells.
Yeah. There's already one well on the site, by the way, for the existing house. I asked yesterday if they'd investigated that well at all, and that guy said no. So I don't know how deep that well is or whether whether it produces enough to meet today's standards.
Yeah, you're right, Kay. I mean, I know there's an existing well on the property. I doubt we have any records in our files, but there is resources online where you can look at historic well information depending on what was actually submitted to DEP.
Well, that would be interesting. But when you say submitted to DEP, people don't submit information about their wells to DEP, do they?
I mean, they're technically supposed to submit a well completion report.
I see.
And I'm sorry, guys, I don't know how to spin this around. Hang on one second. I don't need anyone crooking their necks over this.
Oh, you got
Well,
it.
Well, so there's one big thing on here that jumps out.
Can you enlarge it a little bit, Jason, please?
Yep, yeah, of course. And I mean, this is just one of the test pits. It's not everything, but the thing that catches my eye, look at depth to groundwater.
Yeah.
That is pretty shallow.
Yeah.
There's nothing that prohibits this in our town, but these are most likely going to end up being mounded systems. So, it'll be some bump with some sort of retaining wall around it, most likely. For
Jason, are you still talking?
Yeah, he's frozen. So is Sophia. So apparently is Gail. So it must be the townhouse having some kind of issue with their internet.
That was quick. Yep, look at that. I'll text Jason
All right.
Oh, here
Oh,
he
there we
comes.
go. Jason,
Jason, you all froze. Everybody who's in the townhouse froze for about a minute there. So
Can you hear us now?
yeah,
yeah.
so I don't know what we missed of what you said, but
Yeah, sorry, our internet just completely cuts out here once or twice a week.
So we have one more to wait for then. Could you go back to the first page? You were talking about the groundwater being 36 inches deep. There, the
Yeah, so yeah, all I was saying
mounted
really was
system.
yeah. Yep, these will end up being mounted with retaining walls most likely.
But that doesn't stop
Yeah,
the percolation down into the groundwater, right?
No.
the quality of those are really problematic ordinarily, aren't they?
you mean
Um,
of
what do you
ones
mean?
that
The water quality of those that they're tapping so close to the surface.
Well, that would be for the septic system. That wouldn't be tapping into
Yeah.
the groundwater for the drinking
Yep.
water.
Right.
Right. But
Yeah.
I mean, the important thing is the wastewater isn't going to have the advantage of being filtered through a large distance of soil before it actually enters the groundwater system.
Yep.
hence the mounted system.
Yeah, but even so, even if it's mounded, right? We're still not talking about we're talking about feet, not tens of feet or hundreds of feet.
Right.
Look at this one, 18 inches.
Whoa.
But so what I was saying before I cut out there is on previously undeveloped lots in town, we have a stipulation in our reg that says if groundwater is less than 36 inches from the surface, it's considered unbuildable. But because this has been built on previously, that doesn't come into play. Yeah, but it's still, to me, it's still noteworthy.
So, you know, would that be true, right? What if a place was buildable, but the groundwater level changed? Is it still grandfathered in?
You could retest, and it's happened where it's passed one time and it's hasn't passed another time.
Right. But if, since there was an old building on there,
Right.
if it no longer passes, is it truly grandfathered in?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Our regulation specifically says previously undeveloped.
All right.
So it only comes into play for like brand new parcel.
Well, isn't this a brand new parcel?
No, there's a house on it.
So that, okay, house is coming down.
Yeah. House has
Correct.
been unoccupied for about 20 years.
Yep.
All right.
You guys want me to stop sharing for now or anything else you want to take a look at?
Well, anything else you think is germane to this discussion? Because this has been very helpful.
Let me see. Um, I'd like to pull up an actual one of the proposals they gave us. All right, can you guys all see this?
Yes.
So this should help a lot in terms of the visual stuff I was kind of trying to explain before. So we're not looking at this the same orientation I had it pulled up on Mass Mapper. So down here is Strawberry Hill. So these are the two buildings when you first turn down. Here's that first grouping of four buildings. And then in that back corner where I showed you guys, this is that last grouping of four buildings. Duplex style unit on each end. 20 units total. Somewhere in the 45 bedroom range is how it would end up shaking out. Parcel's about 10 acres total. Let me see here. This plan here that we're looking at, you can actually see the septics. So this looks like one of the systems here, uh, leaching area.
Can you got the cursor there?
Yep. And then up top, you can see the leaching area for this system is in between all those buildings.
And that corner leaching area down in the bottom is actually, so I have this up on Google Maps too. It
Yep.
looks like it's actually a little bit north of the pond, right?
Yep.
So it's in the area in which there are fields, but not next to the road.
Yep.
So basically, they're going to surround the pond with leaching areas for their septic systems.
Yeah, I mean that's their only choice, right? Because the pond is smack dab in the middle almost.
And this shows that stream.
Yes, intermittent stream.
Yeah, and also the outflow.
Yep.
So somebody must have years ago decided to dam up that intermittent stream and create the pond.
Yeah, so I guess from my perspective, if we really want to boil this down, um, realistically, I don't think the septics really would be any issue. Yes, mounted systems aren't the most pleasant looking things in the world, but as long as they're X amount of feet above the water table, um, and designed accordingly beyond that, shouldn't be any issues there. I think for me, the main concern, and it's hard to see. It's hard to see on here, but if you look, there's a couple areas with these W's here. Those are the individual wells. So you can see, um, so there's a couple of them around. So I mean, those would be my main concern. Having that many wells on one parcel. To me, it's just asking for trouble. So
Yeah, well, the important thing too is there's not just one, yeah, it's not one 10-acre parcel. It's in a small subsection of that 10-acre parcel. So it's much more concentrated than 10
Right.
wells on 10 acres. It sounds like you have a well an acre, but functionally it's not.
Does that make a functional difference? Do you think that the clumping them all together versus spreading them out? I mean, not that it's an option. I'm just wondering if that's something that does that make a difference in uh, the use of an aquifer if wells are spread out rather than clustered? If you have the same number of wells, anybody know?
I mean, to me, the further they are apart, the better, right?
Yeah.
And vice versa. The closer they are, the more problems. Especially since we know there's that house on Strawberry Hill that has well issues right next
Mhm.
door.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Any other I guess what we can do is we can kind of use me to field all the comments from you guys if that's what we want to do.
Yeah.
And then I can submit those to the proper parties when we're ready to do so. But yeah, like I said, I think the wells are the biggest concern for me. Um, it's an environmentally challenged site, as you guys saw and heard. Um, either way, I don't think it's going to be easy. I learned yesterday, and it could just be hearsay, so I guess take it for what it's worth. But I think they've sort of felt out this site two other times in the last couple of years. Same developer. and has ended up walking away both times. So I don't know. Like I said, take it with a grain of salt. That to me would say there's a high probability this doesn't work out or materialize. But I also heard that this is the furthest they've ever made it in this process. So this time seems and feels different.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, I guess we'll see what happens. The way these things typically go, the state's all about getting these housing projects going. So to them, as long as this meets minimum requirements and seems feasible for a development, the state's going to say yes. That's just the reality. And then from there, that's when applications and things start coming our way for approval. And part of the deal with 40B is they can ask for relief from our local regs, which is tricky for wells because there's no state oversight of wells. So my assumption is it would just fall to our regs by default, since that's the only thing we really have to go by. And Title V, they would just have to meet state standards under that code.
Um, so one of the things I learned yesterday was that I don't know enough about the 40B process, but that this meeting was really for the state to determine the overall suitability of the site. And they're thinking, and that suitability has to do with things like geography, affordability, I don't know what all else, but they're not actually, there will be times subsequently in the process, if it continues, for us to submit all sorts of questions. But we're invited to submit comments now too, but we shouldn't view it as our last opportunity. And there'll be a much more detailed application that comes our way. So I think it's important to talk. I think we should comment about the water also. I wonder if we should, in the next few weeks before our deadline for submitting comments, see what else we can learn about wells in that neighborhood along Strawberry Hill Street.
We can do that. That's easy enough.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think it's the most important thing that we can do right now.
I don't know if there's anything we can say about septic systems, because I think it just makes us look, in a way, would make us look foolish to talk about our regs when they're going to be superseded by,
Yeah.
they're going to be trumped, so to speak, by DEP.
I think it's fair to comment about proximity to existing water. The proximity to the pond, if the pond is viewed as a live entity and flourishing, it's very troubling that the septic systems will not impinge upon the pond's well-being.
Well, especially given the groundwater is
so high.
It's a really pretty nice pond too. It's Kay and I were looking at it yesterday and just talking about how nice it was. So I agree with you, Steve. It's yeah, a lot of environmental challenges here. So a lot that they're gonna have to figure out and work around. Someone brought up a great question yesterday. As these guys were fielding comments and questions, because there was a butters there too that joined us. Someone asked why not. I mean, it's a 10-acre lot. Why not 200 units, right? If you have the space, why wouldn't you squeeze out as many as you possibly can? And I think the answer is obvious, isn't it? There's all these different things they have to work around, right? The pond,
Yeah.
The wetlands, the stream, the high groundwater. They'd be lucky to even get these 20 units, I think. So this may end up working out, but I think what we're going to end up seeing is probably a scaled down version of this proposal. to me, the easiest things to go would be maybe you omit those two buildings closest to the street, and it only ends up being maybe 7 or 8 buildings, 15 units, something like that. So I don't know what's going to happen. We're months away from receiving anything at this point, so yeah, all we can do really is offer up our comments, and then see what happens. Most oftentimes, these things don't materialize. But still, either way, we should be prepared and offer up whatever we can. I did learn the comments they're seeking at this point are more just general versus super technical, if that makes sense. So I would say for you guys, if you want to start maybe putting things together, sending them to me, and I can kind of be our point person to kind of consolidate all of this and then share when the time comes.
Just one more thought I had, and that is that Sherburne has a lot of 40Bs and is also, like we are, very dependent on private wells. And there may be something to learn from their experience with this.
Yeah, and you actually just reminded me, Kay. I don't know whether it was super clear or not, or when we last spoke about this, but earlier this calendar year, we did receive word that this same developer had broached with the DEP, had broached the subject of having this be a public water system, meaning establishing a series of wells and having it serve enough people for it to be considered its own public water supply. The DEP said, no, we're not going to do that. We're going to leave it up to the town to regulate the individual private wells. I have no explanation for why that is, but DEP said no to that inquiry. So whatever they end up doing, it's going to be private wells and it's going to be on us. So
All right.
Well, certainly willing to write up a paragraph or so of Jason for you, and you can consolidate with other comments. But it will be generalizations.
Yep. Sounds like a plan to me.
And we may end up discussing this again before the deadline, particularly if it gets pushed out into later in January. So,
Yep.
All right, great. All right, anything else about that topic before we move on? Okay. All right, the budget, Jason.
Yeah, so before we dive into that fully, I did just want to mention I only have about 20 minutes before I have to jump on another meeting. It shouldn't take that long, but I just so we could be mindful of time. I mean, obviously, you guys are welcome to continue after I jump off, but did everyone have a chance to look at budget materials that I shared last week? I think it was Friday.
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So really, I guess to summarize this, it's an overall decrease versus last fiscal year. It's 298K FY26 compared to about 294 for FY27. The big difference being our plans for the administrative assistant position, consolidating that into one 35-hour role versus our current 48 hours a week of admin work. The two other major budget lines that we spoke about, the water study and the Charles River pollution. I learned a little bit about those from Jerry Clark, who I spoke with in the last few days. My read on those is it's probably best for us just to keep those, which it sounds like we planned on doing anyway. Now, overall budget in the town this year is on the tighter side. So we've kind of been asked, we haven't been asked to cut necessarily, but more so just kind of keep it as level funded as we can. So I mean, for us, we're already coming in at less than last year. So there's no reason why we can't just keep those lines. If we need to cut them next year or figure out some way to consolidate those or whatever it may be, I guess we'll cross that bridge when we get there. Town administration, I guess, does have final say. So if in the next couple of months they have questions on those lines, I guess, again, we can figure it out when we get there. But this is what we're proposing at this point. Now, I did want to mention too, I did make a small tweaks in the last few days just because I did learn one of the budget worksheets that town administration gave us had incorrect formulas in it. So what it amounted to is a few $100s that were missing from some of the salaries. So that's all that changed. The admin salary and the nurse salary ended up increasing like $200 or $300 just because now it has the correct calculation. So it didn't really change much, but I did want to uh mention that. Any other questions or thoughts on budget?
I just have one quick question. I want to
Sure.
ask Steve something. So Steve, since we talked last time about that pollution control district item in the budget, I had another memory that came emerging from the cobwebs, and that is that pollution control district is really about that facility in Medway that handles septage from Dover and other towns, and also municipal sewer wastewater from some of the towns that have municipal systems. Does that ring a bell when knowing that? Does that ring a bell for you about why we have it in the budget?
No, and Jerry didn't make any reference to that when I discussed it with him.
Okay, all right. So we'll do some research over the next year.
Yeah, my thought too, Kay, is leaving those in is I think it's a positive thing for us because for next fiscal year, if we need to do a little bit more trimming, we have those in our back pocket.
Mhm.
Because if we play our full hand now and cut everything, then what happens next year when they're asking for more?
Yeah, yeah.
So, we're
But
already in a good spot for FY20. You get what I'm saying.
yeah, I do. But I also want to say that I have this distinct recollection that pollution control money, $5,000, I believe, is something we could not touch. That I somehow that got
Yep.
drilled into me.
It was
Uh,
explained to me as an eventuality, should there be an assessment, that would be Dover's share.
I
Right.
see.
Right.
Yeah. And that we ought to budget for it so that we're not surprised.
Oh.
Yeah, that fits. Okay. All right. So are we ready to vote to approve the budget? If so,
I move that we vote. I move that we approve the budget.
Steve, do you want a second?
Second,
All in favor? Aye, Kay Peterson.
I, John Quackenbush.
I, Stephen Kruskow.
All right, very good.
And thank you for all your work on it, Jason.
My pleasure. I enjoy diving into the budget stuff. So, yeah.
Well, that's good because it's it's not fun if you don't like it. All right.
And so
Um,
I guess next question for the group would be just as a formality, I do like to have everyone sign the final copy of the budget. Does it work for you guys? Can we circle that electronically and kind of do the whole digital signatures or sign and scan or something like that? Does that work for you guys?
Works for
Yeah.
me.
Steve?
Is that a common practice in the town?
That's a good question. I don't really know the answer to that.
It,
I was saying to Kay earlier, I think at the very least, I think doing our formal budget approval and signing I don't know how much it actually matters or makes a difference. Like we kind of just do it as like as part of our process.
Right.
Whether we actually sign it or do that whole thing, I don't know how much of a difference it makes. I'm just trying to be consistent from prior years. Go ahead.
I'm old school. I think we should come in and sign it. Then accusations of auto pen and like effort
Yeah,
is
yeah,
go
that's fair.
away.
Now, I guess the only thing with that is I would like to send this to Michael before I leave for vacation. Um, so before this week's over, so it's up to you guys. If we can achieve all that in the next couple of days, that would be ideal, depending on um what everyone's schedule is like.
What time do you get there in the morning, Jason?
We will have someone here tomorrow by 8.
All right, I'll swing by tomorrow morning and sign it.
Okay. I will not be here, but I'll let Sophia know. Or I guess she's listening to this, so she knows.
Someone will be there today.
Yep. Yeah, we'll be here.
Okay.
So I'm coming in this afternoon, Jason, so I could drop it off in John's mailbox if Steve signs it before. What would that be, 3 o'clock? Would that be easier for you, John, if I drop it off?
Yeah, I mean that could be fine, and that way I could come and slip it under the door. Or
Yeah,
come
we
and
get-
see Sophia and her bright smiley face.
Can you get into the building to slip it under the floor? I'm sure it's open before.
Yeah, it's usually open by I don't know, 7:30, depending on the day.
If it's 7, I'll come by and I'll wait. If it's 7:30 or 8, it'll be fine. And if you want to drop my mailbox key, just let me know and I'll grab it.
Yeah, thank you guys for the flexibility on that and the coordination.
All right, I'll let you know if I drop it off, John. But if
All
if you
right.
don't hear from me, it means I haven't.
All right.
All right, good.
Sounds good.
I'll have Sophia as soon as we get off the meeting here. Sophia will print it out and have it ready to go for everyone.
Great.
Okay. Thanks everyone for
Look-
this extra meeting and for doing it so quickly. So,
One other thing I want to raise, so I know we can't discuss it, but Jason sent around that PFAS document. So another place where they found PFAS in the water. And given the fact we've had two reports about that, we may want to bring it back up for discussion at one of the upcoming meetings we're going to have. So I don't know if we want to do that in January or February, but just at some point.
yeah,
we
let's
should come
Yeah,
that's a
back.
good idea. Let's put it
happy to do that if you guys want.
Yeah.
Because we've
I mean,
talked about doing more testing in town, and now might be the time to really discuss that again.
There's a
Okay.
time, well, there was a time when we considered having a budgetary item to cover a certain amount of testing in town.
I think we are getting into deliberation here.
That's
Yeah.
So,
deliberation.
Yep.
so I'm going to cut us off at the pass. Save your thoughts, Steve and John, and let's put that on the agenda for January.
sounds good. I mean,
right.
do we? Never mind.
Oh,
Yeah,
setting
we'll put it on for January.
Yeah, but what about setting a date? Did we set a date yet or not?
I don't believe so.
All right.
Sophia, do you know the answer to that?
Yeah, hold on.
Sorry, say that again. Oh, also, Gail just came in, Jason. She said bye. I was talking to Gail. I wasn't like,
You weren't paying attention to us?
no,
Oh.
she just distracted me.
Yeah, I don't know if we set a date. Do we
I
want to
don't-
just pick one now?
Yes, let's do that, and that way we'll be sure.
Well, what about January 5th?
Okay with me.
Oh, you know what? That's on my calendar. Board of Health, January 5th, 7 to 9 p.m.
It is
Yep.
already?
Yeah, I think we did discuss it last time briefly.
All right.
And Sophia is super efficient.
Now, Sophia, not to put you on the spot. I know we had been doing the 7 o'clock to accommodate your schedule. Will that be different in January? Does the 7 still work?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
I probably have more flexibility, so even if you wanted it earlier, that's fine with me too.
Are you guys okay with the 7 o'clock, or are you missing the 6:30 time slot, or 6,
7
or
is
are you
great.
indifferent? Okay.
Whatever.
Everyone's more likely to be fed and less grumpy, so.
But then,
Okay,
but then you get into falling asleep at the wheel, right? All right, but I think I can make it till 9 o'clock sometimes.
I mean,
Once I'm-
I mean, we plan till 9 o'clock, but let's hope that's not the case.
Yeah, that's
me-
that's
to
the
me-
worst.
Yeah, to me, if we can knock things out in an hour, yeah, that's where we're in well-oiled machine territory. So,
All right.
Okay,
I will see you all January 5th.
motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
So moved.
all
All
right.
right, goodbye, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Take
Thanks,
care.
Sophie.